Have you ever had one of those days, where simple things like reaching for a cup in the top cabinet or getting up from your favorite chair suddenly feel harder than they used to? Maybe you've even caught yourself thinking, I'm not as steady as I once was, or I don't want to bother anyone for help. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. A friend once shared, you don't realize how much you take for granted until one day you're standing in your kitchen, staring at that jar of pickles, and you just can't open it anymore. Then she added something even more powerful. The scary part wasn't the jar. It was realizing how many little things like that had been slipping away without her noticing. Now, if that resonates with you, if you've ever had that moment where you notice you're asking for help with things you used to do without thinking, I want you to know something important. This isn't just getting older. So much of what we assume is inevitable aging is actually the result of small, daily habits that quietly chip away at our independence. You might be thinking, I've made it this far, why fuss over small habits? But here's the truth, independence isn't about pride, it's about freedom. The freedom to move through your day on your terms, to keep doing the things you love without relying on others. And sometimes, the difference between staying self-sufficient and slowly giving up ground comes down to a few daily choices. Take Carol and Margaret. Both are 74 and retired around the same time. But today, their lives are worlds apart. Carol still walks her dog every morning, tends to her garden, and volunteers twice a week. She's sharp, active, and independent. Margaret, on the other hand, struggles just to get out of a chair. She's stopped going out as much and often says, I just don't have the energy anymore. So what happened? It's not luck. It's not genes, it's habits. Subtle ones that made a big difference over time. In this video, we're going to walk through 5 of the most common and most dangerous habits that steal independence after 70. These aren't the obvious things like smoking or heavy drinking. These are the subtle, sneaky habits that creep up on us, the things we don't even realize are problems until suddenly, we're depending on others for things we never thought we'd need help with. But here's what's exciting, for every one of these habits, there's a simple fix. A small change you can start today, that will help you maintain or even regain your independence. Because here's the truth, age might change what's possible, but it doesn't have to take away your freedom. Not if you know what to watch for and how to fight back. So let's dive in, because you deserve to feel strong, confident, and in control of your life for years to come. Habit number 1, sitting too much. The sneaky thief of your strength and mobility. Here's a key fact, after 70, the less you move, the faster your muscles weaken. And I'm not just talking about gym workouts, I mean simple, everyday movement. Maybe you've noticed it yourself, standing up from a chair feels harder than it used to, or a quick walk to the mailbox leaves you surprisingly winded. That's exactly what happened to Margaret. After retirement, she enjoyed her quiet routines, sipping coffee in the mornings, watching her favorite shows in the afternoons, reading on her tablet at night. It all felt well-earned, peaceful. But over time, something shifted. Her legs felt stiff. She started using the armrest to hoist herself out of chairs. Eventually, even walking from the living room to the kitchen felt like too much. I'm just too tired these days, she'd say. Not realizing the real issue, her energy wasn't vanishing on its own, it was being drained slowly by hours of stillness. The less she moved, the harder it became to move at all. Carol, on the other hand, approached her downtime a little differently. She also loved her books and cozy afternoons, but she made it a habit to never sit too long. About every half hour, she'd get up, even if just to stretch, pour a glass of water, or peek outside to check on the weather. While waiting for her tea to steep, she'd march lightly in place or do a few shoulder rolls. And during commercial breaks? That was her cue to get up and take a lap around the room, or shift her weight from one foot to the other. It didn't feel like exercise. But it was movement, and that movement made all the difference. Her legs stayed strong, her circulation stayed steady, and most importantly, her confidence stayed intact. she didn't dread stairs or resist getting out of the house. Her body felt ready for the day, because she kept it in motion. And here's the good news for all of us: this decline doesn't have to be a one-way street. It's absolutely possible to slow it down, or even reverse it. The key is consistency, not intensity. You don't need to go on long runs or lift heavy weights. Just standing up regularly, moving gently, and staying mindful of how long you've been sitting can help you stay strong and steady. Even simple changes, like parking a little farther from the store entrance or doing seated leg lifts while reading, can add up. Over time, these tiny acts of movement build strength, boost energy, and keep your body working for you. The habit of sitting too much might be quiet, but its effects are loud. Fortunately, so is your power to change it. Set a timer, stand up, stretch, and take that first step toward keeping your independence strong. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a video. Your support means a lot and helps us keep bringing you valuable content. Now let's continue with habit number 2, skipping strength training. Why just walking isn't enough? You might be thinking, but I walk every day, isn't that doing the job? And honestly, walking is wonderful. It's great for your heart, your mood, and your circulation. But here's the catch: walking alone doesn't build the kind of strength that keeps you truly independent. Take Helen. For years, she took pride in her daily walks around the neighborhood. And yes, it helped her stay active. But over time, everyday tasks began to feel harder. Lifting her laundry basket, standing up from low chairs, opening tight jars. Things that once felt automatic started to feel like work. Then one chilly morning, she slipped on her front steps and couldn't quite get herself up. That was her wake-up call. Walking had kept her moving, but it hadn't kept her strong. Dorothy, on the other hand, approached it a little differently. She still walked every day, usually with her sister or a friend, but a few times a week, she also added in simple strength exercises at home. No gym, no equipment. Just little things that made a big difference. She'd do slow, steady chair squats, rising up and sitting back down with control. At the kitchen counter, she pressed into the wall for a few gentle push-ups to keep her upper body strong. And while brushing her teeth, she'd rise up onto her toes to strengthen her feet and improve her balance. Nothing fancy, but incredibly effective. These tiny routines didn't bulk her up, but they did something even better: they kept her capable. And that's the real takeaway. You don't need to lift heavy weights, or break a sweat to build strength. What you do need is resistance, just enough to remind your muscles, hey, I still need you. Because when your muscles stay strong, you stay capable. You keep your ability to lift, carry, bend, and bounce back when life throws you a curve. Helen learned that too, thankfully, before it was too late. With a little encouragement, she started adding those same simple movements into her week. Slowly, she felt the difference. Standing up was easier. Her balance improved. That feeling of helplessness started to fade. Because here's the truth: weak muscles lead to more dependence. But strong muscles? They lead to freedom, confidence, and the kind of independence that lets you keep living life on your terms. Habit number 3, overlooking balance, the quiet risk of thinking, I'm fine. How many times have you thought, I've never fallen, so I don't need to worry about balance? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Ruth used to say the exact same thing. I've always had steady feet, she'd tell her friend Dolores with a smile and a wave. I've never had a fall, I'm fine. But balance is a quiet thief. It doesn't make a big entrance or announce when it's slipping. It fades slowly, silently, until one day, it's gone. And the tricky part is, you often don't realize it's weakening until the moment you need it most. For Ruth, that moment came on a damp afternoon. She was reaching into a cabinet, twisted just a bit too quickly, and suddenly, she was on the floor. Confused, sore, and shaken. Nothing was broken, thankfully, but something inside her shifted. Confidence turned into hesitation. Every step after that felt just a little more uncertain. Dolores had taken a different approach. After watching a neighbor fall a few years earlier, she decided balance was something worth protecting before it became a problem. She made it part of her daily routine, no matter how small the effort. While brushing her teeth, she'd stand on one foot for a few seconds, using the sink for support if she needed it. During commercial breaks, she'd walk heel to toe across the room like she was on a balance beam. And when sitting down, she'd do it slowly, trying not to use her hands, teaching her muscles and coordination to work together. It never felt like a full workout, but those small actions became habits. And those habits became her safety net. After her fall, Ruth began doing the same. It felt wobbly at first, but she stuck with it. Little by little, her confidence returned. Her legs felt stronger. Her steps steadier. And with that, came something even more powerful, peace of mind. Because here's the truth, falls are the #1 reason people lose their independence after 70. And they don't come with a warning. One moment, everything feels normal. The next, one small misstep can change everything. But the good news? Balance is a skill, and like many skills, you can improve it at any age. No fancy gear. No gym. Just a few minutes a day, a little consistency, and a mindset that says, I'm still in control. Good balance means fewer falls. Fewer falls mean more freedom. And more freedom means staying in your home, doing what you love. On your terms. And here's the fun part, everyone has their own tricks. What balance exercises or tips work for you? Drop them in the comments. Your insight could be exactly what someone else needs to stay steady, strong, and sure on their feet. Habit number 4, the I don't want to be a burden trap. It's a phrase that sounds selfless on the surface, but can quietly steal independence over time. I don't want to be a burden. So many people over 70 say it, believing they're protecting their loved ones. And while the intention is good, this mindset often does the opposite of what we hope. When we avoid asking for small, reasonable help, we can end up needing much bigger help down the road. Think about it, skipping a request to install grab bars in the shower might lead to a fall that lands you in rehab. Avoiding a ride to the doctor might mean missing a checkup that could have caught a health issue early. The truth is, avoiding help doesn't prevent problems, it often creates them. But there's an even deeper cost. That don't want to bother anyone mindset can slowly lead to isolation. We pull back. Say no to invitations. Skip activities we used to enjoy. And study after study shows that social isolation is just as harmful to seniors as chronic health conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes. Research shows that older adults who feel socially disconnected have a 26% higher risk of early death. Let's look at how this plays out. Frank, in his 70s, needed a ride to his cardiologist. But he waved it off, thinking, my son's too busy with work, I don't want to bother him. So he skipped the appointment. What started as a minor heart concern turned into a serious emergency a few months later. Ray, the same age, took a different approach. He called up his neighbor and said, hey, any chance I could hitch a ride Tuesday? I'll treat you to lunch after. That small ask turned into a monthly routine, keeping his health on track and his social life stronger than ever. The difference? Ray understood that asking for help doesn't make you a burden, it creates connection. He didn't just ask, he made it an exchange. And that mindset kept him independent, supported, and still in charge of his own life. This is where a simple mindset shift can make all the difference. Instead of thinking, I shouldn't bother anyone, ask yourself, how can I make this feel good for both of us? You might be surprised how many people want to help, but just don't know how. That's why it's a good idea to create a personal help menu. Think of a few small, specific things that would genuinely make life easier. Maybe you'd love a ride to the grocery store every other Tuesday, or someone to help change your smoke detector batteries twice a year. Maybe you could use a hand setting up new technology, or having someone go with you to a doctor's appointment when you expect big results. Then turn your requests into exchanges. You could say, "Can you drive me to physical therapy next week? I'll bake us my famous cookies afterward." Or, "Help me organize these photo albums, and I'll teach you my apple pie recipe." Even something like, "Let's shop together, we'll save gas and keep each other company" makes the moment mutual. You're not asking for favors. You're strengthening bonds. Want to go even further? Start a skills circle with friends. One person helps with tech. Another shares gardening tips. Someone else swaps recipes. Everyone offers something they enjoy, and everyone benefits. That's not being a burden. That's being part of a community. So next time you catch yourself thinking, "I don't want to ask," remember this: asking for help early can keep you independent longer. And when you match every ask with a small offer, you're not taking, you're contributing to something meaningful. Here's a thought: what's one way you've asked for help that turned into something positive for both of you? Drop it in the comments. Your story might be the nudge someone else needs to ask or offer today. Habit number 5, avoiding new things, thinking I'm too old to learn that. Let's be honest, how many times have you heard, or maybe even said, something like, "Technology is for young people," or "I've always done it this way, why change now?" Maybe even, "At my age, what's the point of learning something new?" Ray used to say things like that all the time. He was 78, stubborn in his routines, and proud of it. He still used a landline, paid his bills in person, and refused to touch a smartphone. "I don't need all that nonsense," he'd grumble, shaking his head as if the whole world had gone too fast and left him behind. What Ray didn't realize was that by avoiding new things, he was building a smaller and smaller world around himself, one that was getting harder to navigate with each passing year. Eli, on the other hand, was the same age, but he had a different mindset. When his daughter gave him a tablet for his birthday, he didn't know which way was up on the screen. But he gave it a try. One YouTube video led to another. Soon, he was ordering groceries online, checking in with his doctor through a health app, and video chatting with his granddaughter in Oregon every Sunday. He even learned how to play chess online, something he hadn't done since college. Ray would watch Eli swipe and tap like it was nothing and scoff, "You've got the patience of a saint. I'd never figure all that out." But Eli would just smile. "I didn't figure it out overnight. I asked for help. And I kept trying." And that's the truth: when we stop learning, we start shrinking, not just in our minds, but in our lives. In today's world, being able to use a phone, open an app, or send a video message isn't just about staying modern, it's about staying connected and independent. Eli didn't adopt technology because he wanted to be trendy. He did it because it made life easier. His phone reminded him to take his medication. His tablet let him see his grandkids' faces instead of just hearing their voices. And instead of waiting in long lines at the bank, he could check his account with a few taps while sitting in his favorite chair. Ray eventually came around, slowly. One day, after missing a family gathering because he didn't know how to join the video call, he asked Eli, "Could you show me how that works?" That small moment of curiosity opened a door. They sat at the kitchen table, laughing through every wrong tap and typo. It took time, sure, but Ray started learning. He even joked later, "I should have done this years ago." The truth is, no one's born knowing how to use these tools. Every expert was once a beginner. And if you've lived through rotary phones, handwritten letters, and the invention of the internet itself, then believe me, you've already learned far harder things. You don't have to master it all at once. Just pick one new thing this month. Maybe it's setting up a medication reminder on your phone, trying a grocery delivery app, or learning how to watch a tutorial on YouTube. Ask a grandchild, a neighbor, or a friend. People love being helpful, and you might be surprised how much fun it becomes. Because learning something new at any age doesn't make you less, it makes you more. More capable. More connected. More in charge of your own life. Remember, independence isn't about doing everything alone. It's about having the strength, the confidence, and the support to live life on your terms. The habits we've talked about today aren't about turning back the clock, they're about making the most of the wisdom and experience you've earned over decades. Replacing dangerous habits with powerful alternatives that don't just maintain your independence, they can actually help you regain ground you might have thought was lost forever. Start small. Pick just one of these replacement habits to focus on this week. Notice how it makes you feel. Then add another. These changes compound over time in the most surprising ways. Your body and mind are capable of remarkable things at any age. Sometimes they just need the right encouragement, the right tools, and most importantly, the right habits. If you enjoyed this video and haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a video. We'd love to hear which habit you're going to tackle first. Leave a comment below and let us know. And if you found this helpful, share it with a friend who might benefit. Because here's the truth, we're all in this together, and every small step toward greater independence is worth celebrating. Until next time, remember this, you are capable of more than you know. Here's to living all your days with strength, connection, and the sweet freedom of independence.